Good morning, good morning. Today is a lovely day, and it is an especially lovely day because it is the Never Open Podcast end of year star rating top 10 list best of 2024 spectacular.
It is, Luke. It is, in fact, the Never Open Podcast end of year star rating top 10 list best of 2024 spectacular, which is a tradition here on the Never Open Podcast.
That's right. So this episode is going to be filled to the brim with absolutely none of that.
What?
No.
You didn't write up your top 10 lists?
No, I forgot. Did you?
Oh. Yeah, I have. There was only 5 of these, but top 5 Tai Chi takes his pants off moments of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I had top 10 Doki just being Dokis. We had that was awesome. Right. We had top 3 Doki bombs that was in there too. There was a bunch of them.
That's right.
I wrote them anyway. I thought you were supposed to do that too.
I think I had a top 40 times Great Khan sat on someone in the corner and went,
That's 22. It's a Naito. That was in the top 5 for sure. Well, you gotta listen to find out. So,
that's right. Well, to this, no, that's this. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but we're doing that later, right?
Oh, right.
Sorry, I'll sprinkle those in throughout as we go. Mm-hmm. But as our listeners, by the way, I'm Luke, and that's my co-host, Mr. Andy. Say hello, Mr. Andy.
Hello, Mr. Andy. Hello, Luke.
We, as you can tell by the intro, everyone, it's if you're watching on YouTube, by my outfit, hello. It's prisoner themed this year. I think the first time we did this, 2022, it was Saturday Night Live. Last year, it was what is it? The Price is Right.
Yeah, man, that was fun.
That was freaking awesome. Oh, and there you go. Now you got this year's one. I think you have to. By the way, if you want to hear that intro and you're watching on YouTube, you got to listen to the podcast.
Probably, yeah, probably. That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll try. We'll see what happens. We'll try. But yeah.
Hey, the people on audio get the intro. That's the people watching get to see my snazzy number 6 jacket and my number 2 badge right there. So there you go. There is that.
And my number 0 sport coat and my tie that is right there. The collar's perfectly laced. It's laced around my collar perfectly. I look awesome. That's right. Just trying to say.
You're a very dapper gentleman.
I'm Dapper Dan Man. So clearly.
That's right. Absolutely. So we thought, I don't know why you thought this was a good idea, because you just told me before we recorded that you hate this, but you thought it would be a fucking great idea for us to rewatch the final episode of the 1967 television show, The Prisoner, created by, mostly written by, mostly directed by, and starring Patrick McGoohan. He's the King of England in Braveheart. If you guys haven't seen it, he's also, if you've ever heard the song "Secret Agent Man."
Careful, YouTube. Careful.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, that I can only do like 2 seconds of it or something. But that song was the theme tune to Patrick McGoohan's previous show before he did The Prisoner. Now, you might not think this. You might find this hard to realize this by now. I'm going to just put a bit of back stuff on this, right? But at the time he was about to make The Prisoner, Mr. Andy, he was one of the biggest stars in England. Like, he was huge. They offered him James Bond and he turned it down.
But James Bond is a womanizer and he shoots people. And that's right. And Mr. McGoohan doesn't do that. So
no, in fact, he doesn't gun anyone down until the final episode of The Prisoner, actually. So
that's true.
Yeah, where he pulls out the machine guns and shit.
Well, so I guess it was earned, So
yes, exactly. We had to wait 17 episodes for it. Now, with this TV show, everybody, it's free on YouTube. You can go watch it if you wish. That's how I exposed Mr. Guy of it. Here's the links, bitch. Watch this. And you're like, how many of these do I have to watch? Just this one and these
ones. Let's talk a little bit about that. So, that's how I was exposed to the show. Now, I've heard of this show before. I think I've seen the intro and been like, oh, that's like some British shit. You know, it's British. It's British.
It's hell.
All right. So like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. Sometimes that just kind of, you know, goes over my head. And you told me it was cool. So you're like, yeah, check the show out. It's old. You told me the same things you just told me now. And then you're like, oh, but only watch like episode 6 and 7 together, and then watch 16 and then watch 1. And then you can watch 2 and 3, but don't watch 16 until you've watched 5 and 6. And I was like, I'm just going to watch it in the order that's on whatever it's on. Right. So
Yeah.
I watched almost the whole show. I wanted to see what happened. And you told me the finale was the finale. So I did skip a few episodes just to get to the final finale because I had to see what happened. And boy, did stuff happen.
I did eventually give you an unconvoluted bullet points of, all right, these are the ones. If you want the full story, I guess these are the ones you need. All right. But
that's when I was like, is there an answer at the end? Is the finale the finale?
Yeah,
you know,
you wouldn't have seen the previous episodes, like the judge, Kenneth Williams, who's the judge character. He's in a previous episode.
Bang the gavel.
The girl, yes, he's a good gavel banger. He gets the door a lot. Imagine the outtakes.
Oh my god!
Yeah, give it to me, baby. Yes,
so much yelling.
Alexis Canner, who's the ginger in it, he was in a previous episode as well, and then you got Leo McKern, who's the number 2 in this episode. He obviously was in the previous episode, Once Upon a Time, and he was in the chimes of Big Ben. So there you go. And you've got the little butler man.
Yeah, Butler. He's in every episode, right?
Yep. And the supervisor, who is a bald gentleman with who always wears glasses.
Yeah.
Who you might have recognized from a lot of episodes. So this is
okay.
Brings it back. But they're all. Alexis Canner's not playing the same character he played from the previous episode.
Right.
That character dies. You don't know if Kenneth Williams is still playing the same character or not because it's a completely different freaking character. Leo McKern, though, as number 2, is playing the same character.
But he had to shave because he's the real guy shaved his beard off or some shit.
Yeah, he cut his hair and he shaved his beard and he's just got a goatee now.
That's awesome.
Leo McKern. Yeah, so now you do need to watch. We're going to spoil the shit out of this, everyone. This is going to be one of the most niche, esoteric podcasts we've ever done, but it is the time for it. Yeah,
we made it all the way through 2024, Luke. We watched 1 million like New Japan shows. 1 million.
We get
to do whatever the fuck we want at the end of the year, which will include top 10 lists and,
that's right.
And star ratings.
Yes, because it is the Never Open Podcast end of year star rating top 10 list, best of 2023 spectacular.
That's right.
That's right. And rather than break down the intro and the setup and all that, we're just probably going to spoil the shit out of one of the weirdest endings in TV, and probably the reason it still gets talked about.
There's no cold open or anything. It's just like boom, we're right in the middle of this thing, right at the beginning.
Yeah.
But Luke, what's this episode called?
It is called Fall Out, not to be confused with Fallout, which is one word and a video game series / TV show. This is Fall Spacebar Out.
Okay, so he's falling out.
That's right.
That's also a euphemism for passing out drunk or dying. So that's
by the way,
parlance of our times.
Everything about Patrick McGowan, interviews, things I've read about him, family man. Presents himself in a certain way on TED TV and films, things like that. Then you watch this, and you're like, all right, he's fucking 40. He's in his early 40s when he's making The Prisoner, and you're thinking like, midlife crisis, acid trip time. Like, is this what's happening?
He ate a bunch of acid one summer.
Boom,
right?
boom, 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 boom.
One pill makes you smaller.
And then one pill makes you right, whatever the fuck this is.
That's awesome. Well,
look, I'm gonna poke fun out of this big time, but I'm gonna present the saying like I love it. I love the whole show, warts and all. This is bizarre. First time I watched it, I think I liked it.
How old were you?
20, 21.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say, 5 years old.
The thing is, like, here's something. A bit of backstory about me. So, I didn't finish high school as a teenager. In fact, my last day of high school, I went to the vice principal, and I was like, her name is Mrs. Smart, by the way. That's important. That
Great.
detail's important.
Okay.
I went up to her and I said, "Excuse me, miss. I've, kind of fed up here, and I'm thinking about leaving school." To which she said, "I don't have time for this right now. Go back to class." And I didn't set foot in a classroom till I was 20/21. And I went to, I don't know what the equivalent is. It's not night school. I did it during the day. But, for young adults who didn't, who dropped out and want to get their, whatever the fucking high school diploma is in America. So that's what I did. And I took year 12 philosophy. I don't know anything about it. And then throughout the year, my brain is like melting from all these ideas, and it's in that kind of mind space / melting pot that I kind of watched The Prisoner for the first time.
I get why you love it then. If I was in my 20s and I was watching this would be okay. I get it. That makes a lot more sense because I was discovering in my 20s, and like you said, you're taking a philosophy class, you're discovering some of the same things that Mr. McCoogan was discovering in his 40s and the 60s, right? So it's kind of his age. So you kind of, it's like some of this is like, what's the meme? It's like I'm 14 and this is deep. Like that's a big chunk of the show, right? It's like him having these realizations about life, and it's like, brother, okay, but and that's kind of one of the neat things about it, though. That's kind of interesting, is because it's obvious this man is having something's going on. You know what I mean? With this man to have this come out on the screen, no matter what you know about it, something is happening here. So
it says something about his star power at the time that he made this. People saw it before it went on air. And it went on air.
Yeah. They were like, okay, it's fine,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so one of the central themes of the show, in my opinion, I don't know, you can correct me on this, is a battle between number 2 and number 6. Number 6 is, of course, our hero of the show, and he's often battling with a new number 2. However, in this episode, Fall Out, it is a returning number 2. But he doesn't come around till a little later. First, he's fighting another number 2. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that, right? Or is this?
Yes.
So we get dropped right in the middle of this epic showdown between number 6 and number 2. It's very crazy. There are like 20 scene changes, but in the same room. So like, it's not different shot change. It's a whole different scene. But it's 5 seconds and they're in the same room. And it's like, and it happens for like 2 minutes. And it's like, what is this? It's wild.
So, all right. Now, this episode does a little bit of what the final episode of Twin Peaks Return did that really fucking pissed me off. And I'm not going to rag on the whole show stuff. It's visually brilliant. There's things to like about Bobby's story.
I love it. Love it.
I'm not going to tear it to shreds, except to say that in the final episode of your TV show where you want stuff to happen, I don't want to see you and Laura Palmer get into a car, drive for ages, pull up at a gas station, show me you filling up with gas with nothing happening there. You just
something did happen there. You weren't paying attention.
And then you get in the car and then you drive to your destination. Yeah. I'm like, can't we just arrive at the destination? And then so some of this is like, all right, he's being led in number 6. Patrick McGowan's being led into this room. Slowly, like, move your ass. You've been dying to escape this whole time, and you don't think to yourself at all in this whole episode, number 6, why can we speed this up? Like, I'm free now, yeah? Shut the fuck up. No, he sits there, and the only time number 6 has any major dialogue in this whole episode, like, I mean, more than just, one line or I note it and things like that, is when he's trying to give a speech about being an individual, and they all just fucking
you're
yell
jumping
over
way
him.
Ahead. Yeah, you're jumping way ahead.
So there is, but he wants us to take in this room from over here. This is like the 2001 in one room.
Right.
2001 wants to look.
He went through the time tunnel. He became.
I understand it's 1969. No one had really done that with movies before. So you just like it's fucking beautiful. Like it's amazing. But that's visually interesting because it's space and shit. This is one gigantic cavernous room. By the way, it's the same room that when you're in the village with the seesaw thing and the map of the village. It's that same room that they've just redressed. It's also the same room they use for the number 2's office. Redressed.
It's obvious.
But they want you to see the seesaw thing over here. They want you to see the kind of Mario pipe that's painted silver shooting out smoke. It looks like a Mario pipe, green pipe, but it's silver.
I called that the pit.
Right. There's a judge with his gavel on the platform. Behind him is like 20 people, all with names like the Minister of Education, Finance, Transport, all this kind of shit. And they're all wearing masks. One side of it's white, one side of it's black. By the way, I'm such a nerd that I can tell who a couple of the people who speak in that crowd are because they were had bit parts in previous episodes of The Prisoner. One of them's talking about individuality and he's got a beard underneath. I'm like, hey, number 6 kicked your ass in a couple of these episodes.
Isn't that the point?
Yeah.
So
of course.
So kind of bring it all back together.
But like, he wants you to take this room in. And I'm thinking like, this is the last episode with mysteries to be solved. You should have done this fucking last episode. All right, now we've got to take in the room. Now I don't mind so much. I know what to expect. I'm keeping an eye out for things. You know what? I'm in a different mind space of instead of now when I watch it, I guess I'm reading things into it rather than me going, tell me the mysteries of who number 1 is. Well, because that's been the mystery of this whole show. That's all anyone cares about. But no, you got to check this room out over here. Have you seen this nook and cranny over here? What about this corner? Oh, by the way, the gas is shooting up again. So we got to go there to see it come up out of the pipe or the pit.
What is your like ideal version of a piece of video entertainment? Because like what I picture it is like RRR. Like that's like the only thing that's good enough for you where there's just constantly madness going on and constantly things being set up and knocked down at such a speed. It is like there's no downtime at all,
Well, you know this, but some of our listeners may not know that I have attention deficit disorder, ADHD or whatever. So, like, yeah, sometimes it's like that. However, I fucking love Blade Runner, and I don't know what to tell you.
So
that movie's slow as fuck, right? And I love the sequel too. So, and they're both really slow films, and I'm just drawn in and absorbed by it. But sometimes, yeah. So the first time I'm watching this, I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. Now I've got a bit more patience and I can just take it all in. But the first time I watched it, that was not the mindset. Well, and it's a pretty decently paced series for a show made in the mid 60s. Pretty action packed, especially since like he loses every episode,
It is impossible for me to tell whether you're going to like downtime in something or not. Like, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, this really slow part of a movie was awesome. And sometimes you don't. And it's always interesting for me to find that out because I don't know. You know what I mean? I never know what you're going to say about stuff. I remember when you were like watching Rome, I'm like, I mean, what's he going to say? I don't know. You know what I mean? So
that wasn't slow to me. I think because like I loved like all of the actors and the characters. Who's the ginger-haired lady who was Octavian's mum?
Oh yeah, Atia. Yeah, she's
amazing. Atia. Mm-hmm. The character of Atia, absolute fucking vile. She's straight out of Dynasty or something like that with like Joan Collins or some shit like that, right? And I loved it. Like I just couldn't take my eyes away from her. She was absolutely entertaining every time. And the show's just full of performances like that. The only thing that niggled me was every time they gave us the fucking dick tease of like, we're gonna fight with swords now. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, they saved the budget for this. Cut to the next scene. That was a good battle, wasn't it? Motherfucker, we can't get one.
But that's not, the show's not about that. It's about these crazy, awesome performances, like you said. Yeah. But anyway, okay, so we're in this room and we notice that there is a giant prison. There's also a trailer or something.
A rocket?
And they're like fighting in it and stuff. And number 6 is like yelling, die, 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 which I'm so confused by. Like there's all this shit that like all this madness, this psychedelic madness going on. And it's all conflicts with itself. So like none of it really makes sense to me. like from my viewing point, but some little guy comes out and he takes number 6 to number 1, and we finally get the answers. Finally.
Yeah. Well, you did skip a lot. Like you got the
That's the
first
intro.
section here. Oh, by the way, you get a big thanks to Port Marion.
I was
the
being
place
sarcastic. Yes,
I know. The place where it's filmed. There's a nice thank you there to Port Marion. I've been there. Come on. Charity is like, let's go to Europe one day. I was like, cool. Can we go to Port Marion? Cool. So the one time we went out of our way the whole trip. Oh, I love her. She's amazing. Thank you, Charity. So it is it's got a little prisoner shop where number 6's house was in the prisoner. So that there is that. The Beatles, All You Need Is Love, is played at least twice in this, and not only that, it was on the original broadcast. It's on all the YouTube versions. It's on the DVDs as well. Usually, when you've got the TV version, and now it's going to come out on video. Oh, you can't get the video rights to the Beatles song for that. That's going to cost more money. No, McGowan got the fucking blanket rights. Like apparently, well, the rumor is that John was a bit of a fan. So
I can imagine, and it's surprising to hear it because it's not like a clip of it plays. Like the whole fucking song plays.
Oh yeah,
in the intro and everything, and it's like, wow.
It's
careful.
Oh shit, 3 seconds, right?
YouTube.
It's a 3 second rule.
So like that is while that's playing, they're like traversing through this like cave thing, you know.
Yeah.
And this is where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take you to number 1," and he sure is gonna do it, you know. And then we enter
like George R. R. Martin. That book's coming out.
Yes, we enter the control room, like courtroom area, and that's what we described before with everyone. And then we see the machine gun seesaw, the pit with steam coming out of it, the jury of hooded figures, and there's the barista who is banging me gavel. We already talked about all that, but number 6.
You mean the barrister?
both of those things. He makes coffee and he's
that's right.
Water. So, so number 6 he's vindicated the right of the individual to be the individual. Apparently, so he's like a hero, but it's very awkward to the point where like, are these people going to kill him? Or do they like him? Like, I have no idea up until the very end how they feel about number 1. They're cheering him and shit, but it's like, or number 6. And I'm like, I don't, fake, you know, it's like, it's weird. So it's all like hip, hip, hooray for he's a jolly good fellow. And number 2, his body was in the jail trailer, right? So they like cover his face with shaving cream and work on him with all these machines.
Yeah. They bring him back to life.
It's awesome.
It's a new makeover.
He's shaved. Yes, it's so funny.
Fucking queer eye for the dead guy. Like, what the fuck?
That was funny.
So, yeah. And now what's going to happen is, for some reason, I'm just going to call him the judge now because there's going to be 2 number 2s and it's confusing. Just let me do this with him being the judge, Kenneth Williams. So he's going to explain stuff to number 2. And number 2, he's going to explain stuff to Patrick McGowan, number 6.
Don't get it mixed up.
It'll always zoom in on his face, and it looks like McGowan doesn't give a shit. In fact, it looks like he's melting off his ass and he's melting into the fucking chair. Right? Like he's still on the acid that he took when he wrote this shit. And whilst he's directing it too. So
yeah, he looks like he's playing their game for now. You know, that's kind of like the look that he has. Like, I see what's going on here. And you can't see what's going on here. It's nonsense.
So they want to explain to number 6 like different stages and different kinds of revolt. So, oh look, here comes up from one of the Mario tubes. Number 48. What? Nintendo are really scrupulous with that shit. Watch out.
Right. Very litigious.
They're even more strict.
That's fun.
Yeah. So
he comes up out of the tube, right?
Yeah,
and this is a guy,
frilly shirt, top hat.
He's dancing and stuff. Well, he's tied to this thing, and in the other one, he was a cowboy. I don't remember if he sang the silly song in that one or not, but he loves to sing the song about how bones are all connected. He loves it.
He's used in revolt. He is supposed to represent like the young idealistic rebel who wants to change things and make things change for the better and all that. And they represent the status quo, who are just like, we're happy with the way things are and try to keep it that way. Yes, thank you. That's very subtle. Oh, and then there's like this really cool, weird, awkwardly edited thing where the judge and number 48, the young hip dude, going back and forth at each other, going like, "Give it to me, baby," and a hip bone, and a shin bone, thigh bone, back bone, and then 48 breaks out into a song and dance while he runs around the cavern of Ezekiel, crack them bones, Ezekiel, crack them bones. I think that song can't be copyright protected.
I don't know. It's a tradition. A traditional song can't be owned. I don't know.
Hell yeah, suck on that, Ezekiel.
So
he four bones.
I mean, isn't it kind of obvious though? This is like Mr. Number 6 watching the two sides of his psyche fight it out. It's so blatant, and that's why he's sitting there going, "Oh, I'm just watching myself." It's like, it's so weird, but the thing where they're like, "Give it to me, baby," and stuff like that. It's like they're on the same side, and that's something that's really confusing about this whole thing. Is that when everyone is like freaking out when he starts singing at first. He starts singing, everyone's like, "Oh my God," they're freaking out, being like, "No," he's banging the gavel and shit, and then he keeps doing it, and eventually they're all singing and dancing, and it's like, what is that?
Yep, most definitely. Number 6, by the way, has had maybe 3 to 5 lines of dialogue at this point.
Oh.
And he's just sitting there nonchalantly enjoying the wank that he has created, Patrick McGowan, I mean. And then after that, they take number 48 away, back to the Mario tube. Dun, 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 because he's prisoner again, and as he's going down, it's like, don't
worry, he's not gone forever. We'll see him again. No. Don't worry.
All right, and then we just start hearing like laughter. Lots of, like, for some reason the judge starts laughing. He's just looking around. There's star things on the telly. That's an image from an episode called The General, and it's just fucking. It's the Speedlane one if you watch that, and it's just going like this on the screen. And while that's happening, Judge just looks around as and just starts cackling madly, and then his cackling turns into Leo McKern's laughing. And Leo McKern's laughing is playing out, and then he's wheeled in, as you said, with the trailer. He's shaving cream, haircut. I mean,
well, they've been working on him this whole time. They've been working on him in the machine the whole time.
If you're going to bring somebody back, but make minor adjustments, like maybe a shave and haircut and stuff like that, like and you've got the technology to obviously bring them back from the dead, surely you can give him a fucking 6-pack. Maybe add a few inches if he wants them down the below as well. Like
maybe he didn't.
There's got to be some options here.
We do learn that he gives in too easily.
That's right.
That's like his big problem is, so that's why
he took the fucking chump deal when the guy, whereas number 48, he's he knows how to crack them bones.
So one of my least and like most favorite parts of the show is when number 6 and number 2 are just screaming at each other, and whether number 2 whether he's screaming at number 6 or not, he's screaming, and a good chunk of this show, period, is just people ranting and yelling.
Oh yeah,
it is constant, and they're all sweaty. You can tell it's hot, and they're just like screaming about shit. And this guy is fantastic at screaming about shit. He does a great job.
Oh yeah, like he goes on about how like he this is what he was like beforehand. He was like some kind of government destabilizer, whisper here, a nod and a wink over here, all this kind of stuff, all these shady backroom kind of deals. And then he woke up in the village and he gave in really easily and joined them and stuff, and all this kind of shit. And I'm like, all right, cool. I feel a new man, ha ha ha, because makeover. Mm-hmm. Still got they didn't get rid of all of it. He kept the goatee. All right, so that's cool. But he's going on about his own kind of brand of rebellion, and I guess that is from working within the system and maybe being a slave to it, and then just kind of waking up and maybe just realizing it's kind of too late to change anything. You're just too part of the system now, something like that. You can read into it all sorts of different ways if you wish to, but that's what he's going on and on about before, bang, you're guilty. All right, get in the tube next to number 48. Dun, 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 dun.
And number 6 is going to make a judgment here, but he's like, nah, dude, I'm not doing shit this episode. So he's like, I'm just going to wait until after my inauguration. So, but I like the characters, like the number 2 character, and I think it's interesting that this is interesting to me. Is he saying that no matter, because in all these 3 different options, if we're looking at this as one man, he still ended up at the village. You know what I mean? So is he saying that whether he works from within, he does whatever like rebellious thing that he's like the actual character is kind of both, right? And his big act of rebellion was giving up or quitting or whatever, resigning, excuse me. And so like this is kind of like him struggling with that. If that's the case, though, like I said, he ended up at the village no matter what. So is that smart, or is that just a coincidence?
The young rebel gets like I guess beaten down, and they become part of society. The fucking there's the guy who enables all this kind of stuff by giving in easily and like working with the way things are and accepting them, I guess.
Yeah.
And then becoming fed up with that and jaded, and then you got this guy who's is individual as fuck, and then you've got the massive people like behind the judge and the massive people who are like, yeah, you're all individuals, and they're just drowned out. Why? Because like society drowns out the individual. That's
There's stuff. Like, it's like I said, it's a lot of stuff that's like he thought was super deep, and some of it is, and some of it is not. So, but he's doing stuff. I'm not mad at him for doing stuff. We get a very, very long speech from the barista. And he offers number 6 the opportunity to leave and go anywhere or lead the village of weirdos. And everyone yells and claps.
So, of course, he's like, I'm not staying here. I'm going to take my $1 million in traveler's checks. I'm like, oh, I mean, is that traceable? Can't you just give me a fucking suitcase with $1 million in it? Traveler's checks. Fucking what the hell? Passport to anywhere. And I'm like, what, in his name? Whose name? All this kind of stuff. And he takes all that stuff, puts him in his fucking jacket, looking suave as hell. Suave and tripping. So suave and tripping, he needs the little butler dude to fucking walk him to the rocket ship with the big number 1 painted on it. And he goes in, and there's this figure hunched over. Number 6 turns this hunched over figure. Oh, and he's got a mask like all the people on the behind the judge. He takes that off. It's a dude in an ape mask, and they start laughing at each other. And number 6 is like, nah, man, this ain't Scooby-Doo. And he takes that mask off, and it's him. Oh, my God. Number 6 is him.
Himself?
And they chase each other around. It's all nuts. It's all fucking going off. Number 6 does something to the rocket. Oh, no. And then he comes out, and he's fucking... It's fucking the doom music kicks off. Something that, and then something that's never happened this whole series is like, fuck this, let's fucking go. Number 6 starts fucking blasting with machine guns. The seesaw guy's fucking first to go. He's like, fucking, and then you're just like, man, what is going on?
Oh,
you're still trying to process who number fucking 1 is, and then fucking number 48, number 2 come out from their Mario pipes, dun dun dun, fucking mowing motherfuckers down. Number 48 sliding across the floor with his machine guns, fucking going on. It's like the end of a freaking James Bond movie. It is the end of it. It's a cavern, for God's sakes. It is. It's the literal end of a James Bond movie right here. And then just when you think this can't get any weirder, as all these motherfuckers are running around and getting machine gunned, what do you hear, Andy? What do you hear? What starts playing right now?
It's like a Chiquita Banana song. It sounds like I don't know what this song is.
Oh, no, that's a little later. Oh. No, that's I love
Yeah.
you very much. No, that doesn't play yet. What plays, as this is whole Machine Gun extravaganza, best of top 10 things going on, is love, love, dun, dun, love.
So that's
Love's all
I
you need.
as someone watching that, I can't even hear that because that's not even the like you said a bunch of crazy shit that happened. I thought what you were leaning to was the funniest, the most out of control thing that happens in the entire show is that right after all that, you're trying to process the Beatles. I can't even process the Beatles because a rocket ship takes off and some weird fucking song starts playing. And I'm like, what is happening? That was the thing that got me. I was like,
number one
ship
has a mask. Monkey mask underneath the mask. It's number 6. They go crazy. Machine Gun Fest. Wait. Number 6. Number 1 is who? Machine Gun Fest. Wait, what?
There's actually
All You Need Is Love,
yeah.
which is a song apparently about revolution. And this is what the 3 people are doing here. They were like, fine, we're drowned out and you're not listening to what we say or what we want to do. Well, then we're just going to change things by the only way left to us. Fucking machine guns and revolution. And not only that, number 6 decides to set the number 1 rocket up to blow up the village. He's like, not only am I leaving with my $1 million in traveler's checks, bitches, I'm taking these 2 with me. I'm taking the little butler dude as well, and I'm blowing shit up. And then as the rocket takes off, oh yeah, I did it before. It's this weird song. I love you very much. Oh, what? And then you see like the rover thing goes going because it's boiling and dying now because I don't know how it's boiling and dying yet when the rocket ship hasn't fucking hit. But he's not only has he set, apparently he's done it. It feels like he's done 2 things: set the rocket to go straight up and down, and also set the whole base up for self-destruct somehow. Maybe, I don't know. But Rover's dead. Wait, who's number 1 again? Anyway, what happens is then they all machine gun everybody else, whoever doesn't escape. There's bodies fucking everywhere, and they all get back into the trailer truck that the dead number 2 arrived in. They all fucking pile on the net. The little butler man is driving the truck, and and as he's driving the truck, you've got everyone dancing in the back of the truck, which is still like looking like a room. And what are they dancing to? Bones, and even fucking 48 number 2 are doing a fucking do-si-do and they're going around and shit. And number 6 is like got a cup of tea or something, and he's doing some cute little dance while he takes a sip. And then driving past is this fucking stern, fucking serious old man. He's like, back in my day, Winston Churchill was the man. Yeah, he was the fucking prime minister that you needed. Well, not like this now. Look at all these people with long fucking hair. That kind of guy. And he turns his head and he sees them singing and dancing to Ezekiel Crack Them Dry Bones. And he does the double take. Fucking nice looking double take. And then the truck stops, and number 48 just gets out and starts hitching rides. Yeah. Number 2 gets out, and he looks like he's in the city of London. They're in London, but he looks like he's in the heart of the city, about to go maybe meet some bigwigs or whatever. And then number 6 and the butler, they get out, and they run away from some cop, probably because they just parked the fucking truck wherever they wanted. Can't do that, man. They just piss off, and number 6 helps the butler onto a double-decker bus, and they piss off, and they drive, and they go back to his home, and the door opens or something. I mean, the door to his home, number 6's home, who's now number 1. Wait, what? The door opens, and it sounds like the prisoner door is opening in the village, and he goes in, and then it cracks to and he's driving his car like in the start of the theme tune, and the show
like dovetails right into the end, so
and credits right there, and that's the end of the story. That's the end of the 17 episode Odyssey journey that has been The Prisoner, which starts off as a 60s spy-fi show with logic, plots, coherence, and then as it progresses, turns into I love you very much by the end.
I think that if you watch the first episode and you watch the last episode, you got enough. You know what I mean? I feel like you could get enough out of just that. You know what I mean? What I like about the show is I love the sound effects and the absurd use of sound just in general. I love sound.
Oh, yeah.
Sound's my favorite. So, you know, the absurd sound effects, the constant weird music, the constant just, you know, just not like things don't sound like they're supposed to sound on Prisoner, you know? I love the overall weirdness of the show. That's fun. I don't like a whole lot else about it, honestly. When they're yelling, it gets a little too intense for me, where it's just kind of like, man, I don't even know what you're yelling about, dude. Why are you so upset? So
the thing is, what number 6 needs the most in The Prisoner is a fucking chill pill. Guess what they're shit out of in the village? Fucking chill pills, man.
Yeah, he can't chill, you know?
Nope.
Definitely can't chill. You know, if you try to chill a little too hard, that fucking, what's it called? Rover? That air balloon like comes out and gets you.
Yeah.
Gonna get you. You know,
so that's yes, indeed.
Ridiculous. So at least we did get to see the fate of Rover, you know, because it appeared that Rover was destroyed. So that's good to know.
That's right. It melted.
I also was kind of blown away by the fact that the people of the village were given very little time to escape, and I would imagine not many did. So we saw them trying to leave, you know, and it's like, oh fuck, you know, what they do wrong, you know? They're just part of society. You got to blow them all up. So
that's right. You've got to start over. Bye, Shady Sands. We got to start over again. You know. So yeah, no. See, and I know I've just hung a whole bunch of shit all over it, and people listening might think like I didn't like it. I kind of love it, but
I don't think so. I think you're extremely complimentary.
Yeah, I guess so. But I do. I have ragged on it quite a bit as well. But that's the thing. Like I've lived with it for half my life now, so I don't mind.
Yeah. So like
nothing anybody's gonna say is gonna stop me from loving it, and I get their criticisms. Absolutely, you're not wrong with some of what you say. I just don't care. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of shows that I like that you don't like and stuff like that. There's this cartoon that I think is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and it's Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, and everyone hates it, and I don't understand why. Because half of the scenes from that movie are in the fucking Lord of the Rings movie that everybody loves. Like he stole those scenes straight out of there. You know, it's just like people hate that shit, and I don't know why. I don't get it. So it's the same kind of thing, you know.
But I think Peter Jackson saw that.
Oh,
absolutely did.
Yeah, I mean, he admits it. He's like, there's the entire scene where the Dark Rider goes over them when they're, you know, huddled underneath the road there. That's straight out of that cartoon, and it's way scarier in the cartoon to me. I grew up with that, so I love that forever. And if I ever watch it, I'm like, oh my god, I know everything about this, and I just love it so much. But it might be trash. I don't know.
So there are other little stories here that kind of, I guess, put some of this into context. I'm not going to say it's going to turn your mind around and make you go, you know what, Luke? You're right. This is awesome. I'm not going to say that at all. But I will say, like, this episode, Fallout, came a year after the previous episode. So there was a year's worth of anticipation by people.
And then that's what happens.
See, you're not mad. You watched enough of it to get a flavor of like what I saw in or whatever, and thought, now I'll see how it ends. And you did that. Whereas people who were into it, they had a year wait. But you could just do it at your own pace, whatever you want. So could I when I first watched it. So I didn't feel as fucking betrayed or stung. In fact, I was in my pretentious early 20s. I've just discovered philosophy phase.
Right.
And I was just like, I love this. You know, so I still do. But there was a year gap between there. So we had a year to make this. He wrote this apparently in a weekend in some kind of Jack Kerouacian fucking fever dream. It's weird since, you know, he doesn't present himself as someone who does drugs, Mr. Patrick McGowan.
Doesn't bring that up ever.
And unlike, I don't know, On the Road, which is arguably, you know, pretty fucking good, it's open for debate with fallout of what you think about it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't strike me as something that was. Here's my theory, right? Because this doesn't strike me as a dude who'd been taking acid that whole year leading up to this. This strikes me as someone at a party going like, "Hey man, hey, what's up? Hey Patrick, hey, how you gonna finish the Prisoner, man? You go. When do you start shooting? Oh, in a few weeks. Like, have you got the? Oh man, I've got no idea. I've no idea how I'm gonna finish this. I've got no idea what to do. Have you tried acid?
Yeah.
And then like, so it's not as if like he'd experimented with it and he's like, oh, all right, yeah, I've got it. You're right. He did his 20s philosophy face in his 40s, and it's like it was probably like his 4th or 5th time on acid, and he's like, I'm a fucking expert now. And suddenly he's got a couple Grateful Dead records. They're probably around by the mid 60s, weren't they?
Yeah,
mid to late 60s, absolutely. So he's got it, and so that's that kind of fever dream in which he's created this. He made it fast, even though he had a year to make it. Leo McKern didn't want to come back and had to be convinced because he had a nervous breakdown doing all that intense filming with the previous episode a year ago. Because it was just fucking chaos and intense, and
you can tell.
Yeah. This whole show is Patrick McGowan, and he's going to make it fucking run the way he wants. What he wants is on the screen. Yeah. He's one of the biggest stars at the time. That's how something like this gets made. Like, this is some man's pretentious passion project. It just happens to be really fucking awesome in this case, I understand. I can see it for what it is, and maybe as I get older, it doesn't hit quite as hard or mean quite as much. But I can still feel that entertainment and feel like the kind of vibe it's going for. And movies and books and music might have been doing a lot of that, but there wasn't a lot of TV in the 60s that was doing shit like that,
No, yeah, of course not.
And that's why another reason I feel like it's kind of stood the test of time a bit. It was doing and saying shit on the telly that you probably wouldn't start getting more of until like Oz, The Sopranos, late 90s, early 90s, when HBO kind of kicked off what TV can do and kind of fucking change shit. So I'm not saying Prisoners on that level. I'm not. But you know what I mean?
You do have the 1980s where a little show called Star Trek The Next Generation.
There you go. You're always going to find it.
And that's where it all kicked off, obviously.
Yeah. I think that shows the test. Come on, man. I mean, it's not the most boundary pushing thing you might see. But
maybe next year, we'll talk about Star Trek: The Next Generation. Maybe we'll talk about Twin Peaks. Maybe we'll talk about Shawshank Redemption. We don't know.
We should just choose a rando, go to a fucking Star Trek: The Next Generation randomizer, and boom, that's the one we're watching.
Yeah, or just pick one. Don't need a machine to do that. I've been watching Dune. You don't want those machines, man. They're bad.
Yeah. Charity applied for a job the other day, and you know what they did the fucking interview? They said you could do this job interview anytime you want because it's going to be done by AI, and I'm just like, fucking really? That kind of makes me laugh that now even human resources departments are redundant. So fuck you guys.
I'd much rather AI be doing job interviews than fucking doing painting and playing music and shit like that. What the fuck?
Let me tell you
out of my shit.
All right, not my last job interview, but the one before that. So I got a lot of paperwork I got to get through, and for the next stage of the recruiting process for the job I'm hopefully getting, and which is care support worker for people who might want to go to the shops or the movies, or they just want the house clean, shit like that, right? There's a huge call for it up in this area. But the previous job I went for was retail based, what I'm used to. And I'm expecting maybe I'll see the store manager, and it's just like me and the store manager. It's fine. No, it was the fucking store manager, the freaking area manager, and then another higher up in the company. And I'm like, and I sat there, and the first thing I said was like, do I need a copy of the script? you know, because it felt like I was in a fucking movie audition or something. And I was like, this is a retail job for a charity organization as well. So, and I was just like surprised to be just like grilled by 3 people relentlessly for about a freaking hour. I didn't get a job. That's why I don't mind talking about it on the show, but that's all right. Like, I've got, I just got to fill in some of this paperwork. It's going to take a month for it all to clear because we all need paperwork to scratch our asses in Australia to do any form of job.
Well, you know, this is what Mr. Coogan was fighting against. This bureaucracy. This was part of his brain that was ruining his life, and he had to play that out on the screen, I guess. And that's what, you know, the prisoner is, I guess. So
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, it's just like it's just weird because I've done quite a few job interviews. ADHD brain, everyone. You try holding a job for more than 2 years and not losing your sanity and just being like, yeah, I've had a lot of jobs, everyone. Why did you leave the previous job? No, and the one reason I can't give them was because I'm fucking bored. I've done everything here. I'm out. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. Probably doing another job. Like, yeah, I wish I found that one thing that was just like, boom, you got it, you're done. I think it's podcasting, and it's like,
yeah, but we can't make any money at it because we do dumb stuff like the Never Open Podcast end of year star rating top 10 list best of 2024 spectacular. So,
and then rather than talk about like maybe setting up the final episode of The Prisoner, we did, or anything like that, or even the fact that it's a part 2 of a 2-part fucking episode because, you know, the previous story. No, we just spoiled the weirdest fucking thing ever and put on podcasts. I have heard weirder podcasts from long-standing podcasts that I've partaken in, you know, listened in and out of.
We've made much weirder podcasts than this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it's just something fun. I get to talk about one of my favorite things for like an hour with you, even if you don't love it. So I guess we're doing.
I like talking about stuff with you, no matter what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. Well, Luke, did you have a good year?
Yeah, I think so. I started the year in the high 80s, early 90 kilo range, and I ended in the 78, 79 kilo range. So, you know, this jacket was made for. I was 96 on my wedding day. When you get married, you get used to each other, you gain weight. So I was about 102 before. Yeah. How did you do it, Luke? It's called I quit drinking and I got a dog. So that double diet. It didn't kind of just, So in a span of a year, I don't know, go back to a year of these videos, everyone, because that's when we started doing it, and look at both of our faces.
Yeah, we both lost a lot.
Everyone's fucking shrinking, man. I love it. So I was proud of both of us.
Shout out to Ian, buddy Ian's losing a little weight. That was awesome. You know, Jay said she's losing weight. I lost some weight this year too, which is a good thing. My joints feel pretty good. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of pain, you know, which is nice. And I feel like the way I've treated my body, I feel like I should have a lot of pain, and I don't. And I think that's just because I'm always up on my feet, and I, you know, have been doing pretty good with this weight loss thing. I think that helps. So
that's it. Yeah, you know, I was less sugar, and well, I think I just had less sugar instantly just when I quit drinking.
Yes.
And when I quit drinking, like once, maybe twice a week. Charity and I share a beer or two. That's about as far as I drink now. Like,
that's good.
Which is nice. Like, I tend to like drink it and be like, you know what? I really appreciated that. Anyway, you know, and kind of like move on to the next thing rather than being like, hey, Charity, fuck, that was good. Do you want 10 of these? Yes, I do. Me too. Let's go. Instead, we're kind of like, I'm good after that one. Are you? Yeah. All right, let's.
They're more meaningful too.
You know what we replaced it with? We like to experiment and buy all sorts of weird, crazy sodas instead.
Okay.
So, you know, we want a special drink, but we don't necessarily want to get smashed anymore. So, you know, bit of soda.
That's cool, man.
Lots of different ones. Yeah,
I can appreciate that. You know, I don't know. I think it's been a good year for both of us. You know, we're both a little
think
older
so too.
now, and that sucks. But other than that, man, I'm happy. I thought we did okay on the podcast this year.
Yeah.
We made some business decisions, and I thought they were good ones. So
Oh yeah. Oh, I think we're happier doing this kind of episode right now because we didn't have the draining experience of doing absolutely every single episode of Tagly.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
you know, and we actually did watch everyone the previous American show.
We did, yeah. But you know, this will be coming out, you know, probably around the new year or something like
Oh
that. So
yeah,
we'll have another episode where we can talk about wrestling, you know, between now and
that's
then.
right. So yeah, yeah, indeed. So man, I just had a fucking great time. This feels like a nice Christmas present for me. I hope for you too, Mr. Guy. And to everyone out there, be seeing you. Oh,
I was